Do you want to know what it is?
This housing market
It's everywhere. It is all around us.
Now, the question is, should you buy or should you rent in this housing market? We know that this housing market has been going up, 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 up. There's been no down. And a lot of times I see in my comment section, people say, I'm going to rent, I'm going to buy. Everybody is kind of confused on what strategy should I do in this crazy, crazy housing market. And here, I'm going to give you some clarity on exactly what you should be doing. And hopefully in your situation, you can use this information to make the right decision for you. So let's jump right into first-time home buyers deciding to get into the market and deciding, should I buy or should I go ahead and continue to rent? Let's talk about what's currently going on in the housing market. We know things are going up, up, and up. Last year, prices went up 18%, and then they're going to continue to go on. We have things like inflation.
With rising inflation and all the talk that the official RBA rate is about to go up.
We have things like the war going on in Ukraine.
Кто бы ни пытался помешать нам, должны знать.
We've got all of these things kind of going on. The labor shortage, the supply shortage. We have all of these things going against you as a buyer, but great for sellers, right? We know this. So all the time, if you watch my videos, I say one constant message. Let's say it all together.
Listen.
Do not overpay. Do not go into these crazy bidding wars where you're going to give up your rights to an appraisal, give up your rights to inspections, give up your rights to everything just to compete with individuals. That right there, guys, that right there, if you have to do that, listen to me, guys. I'm trying to save you money. If you have to give up your rights to looking at the property, getting inspections done, getting an appraisal done, if you have to give up all of those things to get into your house, you should rent. You should rent because the risk is too much. The risk, it can be detrimental to your financial well-being, guys. Just imagine this. You get into it and you find out that the roof, the HVAC system, it has foundation issues. You know, let's just say it has some pests that you didn't know about. Now you have to fix all of those things. And all you thought that you had to bring to the table was 3.5% down on the home. Well, actually, what's going to happen is you have to fix these things immediately because in home ownership, time destroys everything. If you allow a repair that is this small to continue to go over time, it's going to cost more and more and more. So let's just say all of those repairs that you have to come up with are $40,000. Do you have $40,000? Or are you going to have to basically wait to get that money to fix those things? So now you're already in debt. And we're not even talking about overpaying on a house. We're not even talking about that. We're just talking about just giving up your rights. Now let's jump into a scenario where you're overpaying on a house. So you're overpaying by a house, but let's say you put another $50,000 into that. So now you got $50,000 that you overpaid on the house, and then you also have $40,000 of repairs because you went in blind. You went in blind and said, I want this house so bad. I want to compete so bad. I want to beat everybody so bad that I'm willing to go $90,000 in debt. Now, how is that any different than what we talk about when it comes to credit card debt? How is that any different than buying an expensive car that you can't afford? How is that any different? It's not, guys. It's not. And that is what I'm trying to hit home when it comes to the buy versus rent. And also, too, I want you to remember, there is a thing such as buyer's regret. And we saw last year that 66% of individuals that went through a bidding war totally regretted the decision for the house that they bought. They regretted overpaying for a house after they won. So do not be one of those individuals that are going to regret buying a home. Now let's move on to the second scenario, number 2 scenario, where an individual has a house and they sold it for $100,000 over asking. And now you have the equity that you've built up in the home, and now you also have the $100,000 extra that you got in overpayment. So let's just say in all, you have $200,000 from selling that home. Now, what do you do with that $200,000? Well, in this market, if you sold your property for $100,000 over asking, you can bet your butt that you're gonna be taking that $100,000 and investing it also in a overpriced home. Now, it may not be $100,000, maybe it's $50,000, $60,000. Or in the worst case scenario, it's over the $100,000. But some people are doing this. They're thinking, I just sold my house for $100,000 extra, and I'm gonna turn back around and take that same $100,000 and I'm gonna overpay over $100,000. So was it really worth selling your house? No, it wasn't. You can't even be on the fence on that. It doesn't make sense math by just doing math. Addition and subtraction. It doesn't make sense, guys. So what do we do in that scenario? You look at that scenario and you say, look, I made $200,000. If you can find a property that is not overpriced, that is gonna be coming at value, that you can actually do inspections on and look and get it and win it, right? Great for you. But the chances of that happening in this market are slim. So what ends up happening for you? Well, what ends up happening is you have to look at the rental market. Well, when you look at the rental market, guys, look at it. Just look at it. I know prices are higher in the rental market than they were previously, right? So let's just say I did a video and we saw that some rental prices have gone up 20%. But here's the difference. When you jump into a rental, you don't have to worry about the roof. You don't have to worry about all of the HVACs and all that other stuff. You get to actually see the unit that you're going to live in, first of all. And then it also gives you space to make the right decision. And that is what I think a lot of people are lacking in this market is patience. So if you are just so gung-ho to jump into something and jump into another home, buy another home, you just feel that you need to do it, the chances of the risk factor in that is very high that you're going to make a mistake. I believe that you need to make a buffer in between it, especially if the numbers don't make sense. Okay, so even though you're paying $1,600 a month on a 2-bedroom, right? That's better than losing $200,000 all in one shot. You can stretch that out. Let's just do the math on that really quickly. $1,600, 12 months, that is $19,200. So $19,200 is what you would be risking renting versus $200,000 or $60,000 overpaying. That if the market downturns, you lose that, and now you have to wait. How long do you have to wait for that to come back? Let's just say the market crashes and all of a sudden you are upside down by $100,000 in your home. How long will it take you to get back to that $100,000? Let's just say it takes you 4 to 5 years to get back to that $100,000. Well, if you would have waited 1 year, $19,200, you would have been on the upside of that. You could have bought in at a lower price below that $100,000, and $20,000 would have saved you $100,000. You get that? You get the difference here is you still have a place to live, but you also put space in between it, patience. And then also on the other hand too, you paid $19,200 to save yourself $100,000. Now, obviously I used $100,000 and that was the max, but it doesn't matter if it's 50 or 40,000, it still saved you. $19,000 in the rental market versus minus the $200,000 that you have, you still have $180,000 that you can decide what you want to do with, and you won't feel the pressure. You won't, guys, listen to me. you won't feel the pressure to lose all of that equity that you so hard put into your unit that you got and someone paying for your quote unquote overpriced home. So I didn't want to make this a long video. And so what does this really mean? I love talking about this stuff and I could talk about it all day. But the point is, Orlando, where do you sit when it comes to buying or renting? Well, this is what I like to say. Everybody's situation is different, but I'm gonna go with that majority of the time, the descriptions that I just gave you, the two scenarios, is that someone is going to overpay. And if you're gonna overpay, you can't look at the property. It's gonna be too risky for you to go ahead and purchase another inflated home, a home that is overvalued. And if you have to do those things, renting should be for you. You should definitely look at renting. Obviously, there's gonna be some outliers and some people's certain situations. And I caution you, no matter if it's advice for me or from anyone else, do your own research and make the best decision for you. My take on this is for you to lay everything out on the table and to maybe give you some ideas of things that you haven't thought about, especially when it comes to numbers, because the math to me tells you exactly what to do. But for your situation, please do your own research and make your own decision that's best for you. And then for individuals that have sold their properties, and made a big lump sum of money, just think of it this way, guys. If this was any other housing market, you probably wouldn't have made that much money. So why would you go ahead and waste the opportunity to have that much capital in your hands only to throw it away so when a downturn comes, it's lost again? But make sure, again, you do your own research. So once again, I hope you guys got value out of this content. I need you to check out this next video here. It will help you get into your first rental property, learn all about this crazy housing market, and also check in the description below and join our membership program. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.